Hello and welcome to Monday's Not Today with me, Jack Sims. Thank you for joining us and I hope you've had a lovely weekend. Here's what's on today's show. First, we'll be hearing frustrations after Team Park in West Bridgford was vandalised just before it was opened.
It's incredibly disheartening. This is a space for teenagers to enjoy, to meet, to socialise, so it's a significant investment and it's something that we want all the public to enjoy.
Plus, as usual, we've got some great local guests on the sofa for you too. That includes the County Council and the Notts Wildlife Trust, who are here to tell us how you can play your part in shaping the recovery of nature across Nottinghamshire. We'll hear all about that in a moment. Plus, we'll be grappling with a wrestling announcer who's here to talk about a major slam coming to our city this month, but with a twist. Ready Level 1 is a cyberpunk-themed event being held by local promoter Nebula, and its founder joins us here later on to tell us how the company was formed. And in sport, we'll hear from Panthers forward Tim Doherty about his decision to sign on for another season at the Motorpoint Arena.
Those made us, tighter as a team, and obviously everybody knows how it all ended. And when you win your last game going into the summer, it makes summer a little more fun and easier. So heck of a year.
And in cricket, we'll hear from Notts head coach Peter Moores after the Outlaws successfully completed their highest ever chase as they defeated the Bears at Trent Bridge.
I think generally the way we went about that run chase, because very difficult when chasing a big score, to not get phased. Always helps when you get off to a good start, which we did, and then everybody kept their heads.
Well, all that and more loads coming up just for you. But first, could you be the key to helping local nature across Nottinghamshire recover, thrive and survive? Well, the County Council certainly thinks so, and it's asking residents, farmers, landowners and organisations to play their part in creating a healthy environment here in our great green county. That's because our county is one of 48 across the country being asked by DEFRA to establish a strategy aimed at protecting our vital nature habitats. A consultation is currently ongoing, and joining us now to tell us more are Catherine Mayhew from the Council and Erin McDade from Notts Wildlife Trust. Welcome both. How are we doing? We all right? Yeah. Catherine, I suppose the first thing to ask is, how did this strategy come about?
Well, across England, there is obviously a crisis of nature and biodiversity that's been happening over the last tens of years. The government asked DEFRA the government department to do something about this and ask every county across England to prepare a local nature recovery strategy. So that is looking at the places that are important at the moment and to identify priorities and measures for action so we can preserve and safeguard those habitats and make more of them and ensure that nature has a chance to survive.
And obviously, nature surviving is a keen interest of the Wildlife Trust. Erin, welcome to the show. So I guess, how is it that the Wildlife Trust also got involved?
Well, yeah, we're obviously involved in a whole range of initiatives across Nottinghamshire, but really in terms of the local nature recovery strategy, we're really just utilising our local knowledge, our local connections. So we've taken part in the workshops, we're part of the oversight group, strategic oversight group. And really what we're trying to ensure is that the strategy really reflects those local priorities. As Catherine said, nature is under threat. We're in a crisis across the whole of the UK, but we want to make sure that local issues, local habitat issues, local species that are under threat are fully taken into account. And that's why it's really important that as many people as possible actually share their views. Now we have the draft strategy.
Obviously, talking a bit about this sort of strategy and the decline overall, I mean, we're seeing a lot of it across the country. But I suppose in Nottingham, what are we finding is really at risk here?
So we have lots of important habitats in Nottinghamshire. We have the ancient woodlands of the Sherwood Forest area and the heathland, and those are really unique habitats to this area. We have the Trent Valley wetlands, and we have the rivers, River Erewash and River Idle, so there are watercourses and there are wetlands associated with them. We've got specific types of grassland, calcareous grassland, and say lots of other woodland, and these habitats, they are all important in this lowland county, and we want to see them. We want to see them survive, and we would like to see more of them. We'd like to be able to see more areas and connections between the existing areas as well, because that gives more chance for those habitats and the species to survive.
And For you as well, Erin, I mean, you've already stressed the importance of people getting involved, but why is it so important that people from the local area, like we've got obviously big businesses here as well, but also individuals, I mean, why is it so important?
It's absolutely vital. We've spent decades trying to protect and hang on to the nature we've got. That's not working. We're still losing nature, so we've got to actually up our game together to actually put nature into recovery, and that's what this strategy is all about. It's about identifying those priorities, but then that will hopefully then drive investment, decision making, drive local action, so that more and more we're working together to have impact for nature. So it's about that coordination as well as having that sort of shared vision for what we're trying to achieve for Nottinghamshire's nature.
And I suppose on that note, what sort of actions can people sort of expect to be taken in this preservation sort of action?
So in terms of the types of action, there will be projects that people and partners can work up. So that's why the County Council is leading this, but we're doing this on behalf of the City Council and the District Borough Councils across Nottinghamshire, and also working with key organisations like the Wildlife Trust and other environmental NGOs, but also trying to work with farmers and landowners who would be willing to take action on their land. So it might be things like creating a pond or a wetland area within an area of somebody's land ownership, or planting some trees to create a woodland area that will connect to existing area woodland. So lots of projects like that. There are people who are doing projects to look at specific species and try and support those, like the butterfly project, Rizzle Skipper in the south of Notts, and there's a dormouse project in the north of Notts. So there's lots of things going on, and this strategy will be a framework for trying to coordinate that action and work with all the partners who are already doing lots of great things in Nottinghamshire.
Okay, and Erin, I guess if people do want to get involved, where can they find out more? Where can they look?
Yeah, the County Council website's the way to go. There's a specific page.
nottsnaturerecovery.co.uk. You can find all the details there. You can find lots of sort of background information, FAQs. There's an online survey there that we'd really encourage people to fill in.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you both for coming on, and obviously want to keep up to date with Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust as well for others. Thank you very much. Thank you both. Thank you. Right, moving on now, and Rushcliffe Borough Council has increased patrols at a local park after a refurbished play area was vandalised weeks before opening. On the weekend of May the 24th, fencing surrounding the site in Bridgeford Park was torn down, with graffiti being sprayed on benches. This has led the authority and Notts Police to bring in more officers to keep an eye on the park. So today we spoke with Deputy Chief Executive of the Council about the vandalism, as well as got people's thoughts on the crime.
And we were so incredibly frustrated to hear about the vandalism. Colleagues have been working so hard on this project. This teen facility that's going to be opening today is actually going to cost £300,000, so it's a significant investment, and it's something that we want all the public to enjoy. This is a space for teenagers to enjoy, to meet, to socialise in a safe environment, and without the facilities being damaged. And because if they do continue to get damaged, then often we might have no other result other than to close such facilities, and we don't want to do that. We've already invested into CCTV in West Bridgeford Town Centre. We're also going to be investing in some additional patrols just to provide an additional set of eyes and ears within the area at peak times. We hope not to have to invest in additional patrols, and we hope that people will actually use our facilities in a respectful way, but also if the public do see damage or vandalism occurring, please report it to the council or the police on 101, and so that prompt, decisive action can be taken against those individuals.
Yeah, I think it can't be a bad thing to have someone on the lookout, because everyone wants to come out and enjoy a safe place over here.
There has always occasionally been some things, but especially on the evenings. And I think since we've had a teenage park, it has drawn a lot of people into the area, and that's what it's for, I suppose. There's somewhere for them to go. But invariably, that's also, invited some not so good behaviour as well. I would like to think that having some police presence or some kind of presence would, reduce certainly from it happening again.
Depends how much they increase it by, but anything where people are more aware of, that there will be supervision. I guess it also depends what time of day it is. Probably a time of day like this might not make too much difference. So, probably in evenings or weekends and things, I guess if the patrols then that should help.
Right, in other Notts News headlines, and Nottinghamshire Police have launched a corporate manslaughter investigation into maternity failings at Nottingham's 2 main hospitals. The investigation will look into the deaths and serious injuries related to maternity care at Nottingham City Hospital and Queen's Medical Centre. Both hospitals are run by Nottingham University Hospitals, which is a part of the largest maternity review of its kind by senior midwife Donna Rockenden. The police probe, called Operation Perth, will assess whether the trust was grossly negligent in hundreds of failings. Next, and Nottinghamshire Police have also launched a CCTV appeal after a bartender was spat at a Nottingham pub. The incident happened at the Loxley just before 1 o'clock in the morning of April the 19th, and officers have been trying to track down a woman in connection with their investigation. They've now released the CCTV image showing on your screens and say anyone who recognises her should get in touch by calling 101. And a drug dealer caught in the middle of a conspiracy to sell cocaine and heroin across Notts and Derbyshire has been jailed. 32-year-old James Porter was a key member of the group running a drug line between Nottingham and Ilkeston, and it was foiled after an analysis of his mobile phone revealed he was dealing A-class drugs by sending bulk messages to addicts. A property search in Wollerton led to his arrest and more than £5,000 worth of drugs being seized. Appearing in Nottingham Crown Court last week, Porter of Calderdale was jailed for 7 years. Right, well, let's take a short break, but don't go anywhere because we'll be locking up with a wrestling announcer who's bringing the show's SmackDown to Nottingham this month. Plus, we've also got your sports roundup coming up as well, including a huge victory for the Outlaws. Don't go anywhere, stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Monday's Notts Today with me, Jack Sims. Thanks for joining us. Here's what's happening on the show. First, and plans to refurbish and restore centuries-old wall gardens at Wollerton Hall have been approved by the council. The garden, which dates back to the 16th century, was used to provide fruit and vegetables to the hall and its household. It's currently being restored under the Wollerton Walled Garden project and will get supporting buildings, windows, doors, roofings and fireplaces restored. Nottingham City Council approved a planning application last week with documents saying the site is in desperate need of repair. Next, and the cinema inside Nottingham's Corner House will reopen to film fanatics this month after being taken over by a new operator. The multiplex closed its doors earlier this year after former operator Cineworld announced plans to close the Nottingham cinema. Rival chain View then confirmed it would take over the 14-screen facility as well as refurbishing it ahead of the reopening. Now it's been revealed the new look cinema, including VIP seating and new projections, will open to movie buffs from June the 27th. Right, well, from cinema to sports entertainment now, because we're going to talk about all things wrestling, but with a twist, and that's because our next guests are here to talk about grassroots local wrestling, a show with a cyberpunk theme too. Ready Level 1, which is a show being delivered by Nebula Wrestling, comes to Sherwood next month and promises to bring the SmackDown in an evening full of futuristic family entertainment. The first event is being held by Nebula, a local promoter created by our next guest, Mackenzie Waterlove, who's here alongside ring announcer Tom Campbell to tell us all about it. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you. Do the hedgehogs have names?
Yeah, I've just called them Joe and Luke.
Joe and Luke.
We've got Joe and Luke. So just starting off, Mackenzie, can you tell us a little bit about how Nebula was founded and also a bit about how you got into wrestling? It's not quite the normal career that people have.
Yeah, so coming up with Nebula to me was really about this desire that I had to create a safe and welcoming community within a wrestling kind of atmosphere. So at Nebula Wrestling, I really wanted to provide this healthy community where people could come and make friends and feel connected over something that they all enjoy.
And a little bit about you as well, Tom, because, I mean, being an announcer for shows such as this, how does one sort of fall into that sort of profession?
Complete accident. So I used to host events doing local radio back in the day around the Midlands, and one of the events was a wrestling show, and from there I just sort of built up a bit of a portfolio to the point where I'm working all over the UK now. So then when Mackenzie approached me about this cyberpunk theme show in the heart of Sherwood in Nottinghamshire, I was like, well, I have to do this. Like I have to clear my schedule and come and work with Mackenzie, because she's amassed an incredible team around her, and she's doing something really special in wrestling.
And obviously, sort of on that, well, sort of that unique factor with the wrestling. I mean, can you tell us a little bit? Where did the idea for Ready Level 1 come from?
So I've always been like a huge fan of kind of cyberpunk movies and anime. And I really wanted to do something that hadn't really been seen on the wrestling scene before, which is, you know, wrestling, we have all these big, massive characters, but it's very rare where the show itself has a character. So I really wanted to give it that, and to be unique and different, and do something that perhaps hasn't really been done before.
And obviously, talking about huge characters, I mean, the announcer also has to have this huge character. I mean, how are you finding working with that sort of cyberpunk theme?
Oh, I'm quite shy. I'm retiring, as you can tell, Jack, so it's quite difficult. So I also
not too soon.
I work for a YouTube channel as well for Cultaholic Wrestling, and a lot of us are sort of big personalities already there. I think you have to be if you're going to be announcing these incredible units who are going to be wrestling. And for me, there's so much wrestling out there, but there's nothing like the show that people are going to see. It's so far removed from, whenever anyone talks about wrestling, they always talk about Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks and all of that. But this is so far removed from that. And that's what makes it all the more special. Of all the wrestling that you could go and see in June, this show has such a special element to it that I think even non-wrestling fans are going to fall in love with.
So, and on that note as well, Mackenzie, what can people expect then?
I think people can expect to see a wrestling show that is wildly different from anything that they might have imagined or seen in the past. This is really about, like, how can we put like a unique twist on wrestling that people haven't seen before. And some of our performers are very well known across the UK wrestling scene, but even them, like, we're giving them something that kind of shows them in a new light. You know, we're really investing in them, giving them stuff that they can kind of like wear when they come out, that kind of helps to push that cyberpunk aesthetic.
I mean, I suppose we've got to talk a little bit about costumes as well. I mean, how are you finding yours?
I'm struggling to get into my Lycra at this point, I'll be perfectly honest. Obviously, so much of it is about the character and the persona, and I want to highlight Mackenzie as a wrestler who's been doing it for a good long while now, and has become a sensation on TikTok with your persona Succubus, the Demon Queen Succubus. And it's all about like the attire and stuff, because that's a big part of the appeal. Like so many people go out there and just do wrestling and do wrestling moves, but you get really captivated by the characters. If you remember some of your favourite wrestlers from years gone by,
Rey Mysterio, the Undertaker,
and you don't necessarily remember the moves, but you remember the look, the aura. And what I love about what Mackenzie's doing in Sherwood is that they're not just learning the wrestling moves, which Mackenzie's got this incredible... She's just come back from Korea. She wrestled in Korea in front of 3,000 people. It was outstanding. But not only does she have this incredible wrestling knowledge, but she's teaching people how to become characters. And part of that is the costumes, and part of that is the aura. And you're developing that with your students at Nebula.
And I guess so, because we're just running a little bit short of time now, but could you just tell us like where the show is, how people can find out more, especially about the training that you guys provide as well?
Yes, you can expect, we'll be in Sherwood, Nottingham for June 21st for our Ready Level 1 event, but we also run a wrestling school where you could come, make friends, learn how to wrestle. You don't have to be the fittest person, the strongest person, biggest person, you know, just come, have fun, and just give it a go. You can check us out on nebularwrestling.com.
Well, that's the bell ringing, the match is over. Thank you very much. See you soon. Okay, time for your sport now. We're going to start with cricket and a weekend of ups and downs for the Notts Outlaws in the Vitality Blast. The side started the weekend with a huge victory over the Bears, which saw them hammer 89 runs from 41 balls to complete their highest ever run chase to score 229 runs at Trent Bridge. But they weren't able to bring that same form to Old Trafford and were beaten by Lancashire by 47 runs. But speaking after their win over the Bears, head coach Peter Moores said the chase back is one that he'll never forget.
Watched a lot of games of cricket, but that's one of the ones I'll never forget. That's 66 boundaries, I think it was, in the game. To get a win to start any tournament is fantastic. We didn't get everything right, certainly with the ball we didn't, which is things for us to work on. But I think we saw at the end of the game how tough a pitch it was to bowl on. So credit to Steve Burks, the groundsman. It was Trent Bridge back to, felt a bit like 2017 when it was such a tough place to play all the time for a bowler. But yeah, great game. I think generally the way we went about that run chase, because very difficult when chasing a big score, to not get phased. Always helps when you get off to a good start, which we did, and then everybody kept their heads.
Right, sticking with cricket, and the Blaze had better luck in Lancashire when they beat the Thunder by 7 wickets. The Blaze gained revenge for last Monday's County T20 Cup semi-final defeat, chasing 170 in fine fashion to defeat the Lancashire Thunders in their second game of the Vitality Blast women's competition at Old Trafford. Stars for the Blaze included Georgia Elwes, who scored 53 runs from 44 balls, with Catherine Bryce also getting 49 runs from 29 balls to seal the win with 5 balls remaining. Into ice hockey, and Nottingham Panthers forward Tim Doherty has agreed to sign on for a second season at the Motorpoint and says last year's playoff victory was one to remember. The 29-year-old scored 48 points in 47 regular season matches, as well as providing 2 huge goals and 4 assists in the playoffs too. Speaking on why he signed for a second season with the side, the American said the club is building something special under head coach Danny Stewart.
You know, when you win your last game going into the summer, it makes summer a little more fun and easier. So yeah, heck of a year. So this year, I mean, even compared to North America, this was for sure the coolest and most fun year of pro I've had. And you know, obviously a huge reason part of the reason I'm coming back is because I just really enjoyed it so much. And I really don't think I've ever played in front of fans like that. And such a cool building, and you know, the culture that they're building in Nottingham's pretty special, to be honest. Like, just such a good group of guys, and I know there's, you know, a few guys coming back, and hopefully some more. So you know, it's kind of really a no-brainer, honestly.
On to football, and Notts County have confirmed striker David McGoldrick has rejected their offer of a new contract. The fan favourite scored 17 goals across 35 appearances for the Magpies last season, as well as also registering 4 assists. The club had offered him a new contract for another season at Meadow Lane, but then confirmed over the weekend that this offer was turned down. In a statement, the directors wished him well and thanked him for his leadership and dedication on and off the pitch. And Mansfield Town have confirmed another pre-season friendly fixture as they begin to prepare for the next season. The Stags will take on Matlock Town at the Proctor Cars Stadium on Tuesday the 29th of July in what will be their 3rd pre-season friendly of the summer. They've already confirmed trips to Retford United on July the 8th and Macclesfield Town on the 12th as they prepare for their second season in League One, and tickets for all those games are now available online too. Time for a look at our picture of the day now. This one of the minor statue at the Silver Hill Country Park was taken by our news editor Andrew Topping. And don't forget, you can send in your fancy photos to the telly by tagging us in Notts_TV over on the Instagram. And in your weather, quite a warm one tonight. Temperatures still around 20 degrees this evening, dropping to lows of 11 overnight. Into Tuesday, and there's some rain to start off with, but we could be looking towards some sunny spells in the afternoon and the evening, with highs of 20 and lows of 10. And in Wednesday, it's going to be a cloudy one with spells of sunshine in the morning and the evening. Temperatures a high of 18, and a low of 11. Right, that is going to be the end of the show. So thank you to all our great guests. I'm going to be back tomorrow to do it all over again, which I've quite enjoyed my experience so far, so I hope you're getting quite used to this mug, because he's sticking around. This has been Jack Sims for Notts TV. Enjoy your evening. Goodbye.